Pie de Cody Parkey. 43 yardas. El snap. Le mete el pie. Distancia, dirección. Le dio el poste. ¡No! ¡Falló! ¡Oh! ¡No, señor! ¡No, señor! ¡No, señor! ¡No, señor! ¡No, señor! ¡No, señor! ¡Los hijos se van con la victoria! ¡Ay, papá! ¡No, señor!
Hey, Papa!
¡Nos vamos para New Orleans!
I love this. So, what we're listening to, this broadcaster's name is Ricky Ricardo.
What a name.
And he is the Spanish broadcaster for the Philadelphia Eagles. And that was obviously what turned into a blocked field goal.
Yes.
That was not a missed field goal. That was a blocked
All the death
field
threats
goal.
can go away now.
Yeah, poor. Listen, that dude, what's his name? Cody Parkey.
Cody Parkey, yeah.
Like, he was a Dolphin, number one. and he had signed a pretty decent extension contract, too.
Right.
And so I felt bad for him, felt bad for the Bears. I was cussing Mitch Trubisky the whole game. We'll talk about that here in a second. So, but hey, welcome to Week 18 in the NFL.
I guess we do count weeks after.
Yes, it's Week 1 of the NFL playoffs. This is Ricky Rod with Throwing Bombs.
This is Gage Gwynn.
And Gage, we have some guests with us today.
We sure
now,
do.
we did warn our podcast family that we were going to have some guests, and we're gonna knock that out in a pair today. It's not just one guest; it's two. I think that's what a pair stands for.
I would assume so. Yes.
Right. So, do you want to introduce them for us?
Sure. We'll start with you, Casey Turpin. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for letting me be here.
And Dayton Turpin.
Thank you guys for letting us be here.
And
Yeah.
we've known you all. I've known you all a long time, especially around town. So Casey, now for our audience, you guys are twins.
Yes, identical twins,
Yes, straight up identical.
but I'm better looking. So.
Well, that's funny. When did I first meet you? Was it through church, or was it Mount Burrito?
Further back.
When was it?
I used to manage the movie theater.
Yes,
in town.
Yes,
Yes.
Oh my God! And I'm going through a love-hate relationship with the movie theater right now in our town. But just for the record, for folks listening not from around here, our movie theater is not even a mile from my house downtown, and it's awesome. We go all the time. However, nowadays there's like duct tape in the carpet.
I saw the post on Facebook.
Yes,
It's pretty rough.
it is pretty rough right now. But that I remember because we still go all the time. By the way,
I still work occasionally when
That's
it's really busy and staff slow.
and you're in the medical field right now, right?
Yes, I work for the
Okay, you work
local
for a
hospital.
Yeah, awesome. Now, what about your bro? Talk to me.
How you doing, Ricky?
How are you, sir?
I don't remember when we actually first met.
I met you through your brother. I
Yeah,
think
well,
it
that's
may have
how I
been.
met a
I
lot
feel
of
like it was
people.
maybe even Mountain Burrito.
We both worked at Mountain Burrito.
Yeah,
Yeah, at one point in time. But, it's cool being a twin because you know twice the people.
that's
Because
true.
you're out walking around, you're like, hey, Casey, and you're like, what's up, Ron? You talk for, 5 minutes.
And then they realize.
Then you split, and you're
See,
like,
I
who
think
was
y'all.
that?
I think y'all. You know what? I will say this: when y'all were younger, it was harder to tell
It sure
the
was.
difference.
I've gained some weight.
No, but that's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying. But when y'all were younger, it sort of was freaky, and I do remember
Well,
that.
We done that on purpose.
That's funny.
We dressed alike, had the same haircut.
Okay, so it's nice to meet y'all, and you're a police officer, correct?
Yes.
In Blowing Rock.
The
Does
BR.
anybody live in Blowing Rock that's normal, or is it all rich people?
I'm not at liberty to say.
Well, I can tell you from experience, there's a lot of money being thrown around up there.
There
That's
is.
awesome, though. That's awesome. So I have known y'all a long time. Y'all are married now. You each have kids now, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is crazy. I remember when y'all,
Just turned
single
30.
dudes. Man, that's crazy. Making me feel, we're going to stop talking about this right now. So anyway, Gage, let's go ahead and talk about some stuff here with the games, and then we'll get rocking with the Turpins. because I have some funny stuff I want to bring up.
Yeah, we can talk about all our teams after we go through these games.
I do want your general opinion on the games. I was I probably still sound under the weather, but last few days last week I got so sick. It was so bad. And so the good news was that I was laying in bed sick watching the playoff games. And I'm telling you, what I watched Saturday was not that. It was rough. It was rough watching what I watched. What was the first game?
We had the Colts beating the Texans 21-7.
So we both called that. We both called that. And I thought the Texans with Deshaun, I thought he was going to put up a better game. I was very disappointed with what I saw. I know, they had a little bit of a run, at the end of the game, but it wasn't anything like it was already over.
It just looked like someone who had never been in the playoffs and was lost,
So I think I don't want to say it's all Deshaun's fault, or I don't want to say all that, and I don't want to throw it all. Really, it's the coach's fault, to be honest. But is it that, or is Andrew Luck and that team that good?
I think they're that good.
And I think they're that good. They're his O-line. He did not even get touched. Like, I feel like it was incredible the way he was playing.
Well, they have an all-pro rookie offensive guard.
Yeah, that was
awesome.
awesome.
That tells you anything.
And I like Frank Reich's play calling.
Yeah.
I thought he managed the game great. They scored, I think, the first 3 possessions they had the ball. It was just, I felt like it was just like boom, boom, boom. I was like, well, okay, Deshaun. I was waiting for them to get something going, and I was like, yikes. It just never manifested in the game. And unfortunately, it was probably the worst playoff game of the weekend.
Right. What were y'all's thoughts on it?
The Colts started 1-5 to start the season.
Yes, they did.
And their only win came against the Redskins, by the way, week 2.
Was it?
Yeah, that first.
How close was that game then?
It wasn't close. They stomped them.
Really?
It was bad, but
so we had like a sign of how good they could.
They just had
be.
to get to.
But it says a lot about that coach when they were 1-5.
Right.
their defense is good.
Yeah.
Really, legit. Yeah, I agree,
Dude. It's also spearheaded by a rookie all-pro linebacker.
Well, there's I learned some things about the Colts because I crapped on them the whole year here. It is awesome,
I kept
especially
calling
Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck was going to make the
Listen,
playoffs.
Andrew Luck still. There's a meme with him and the Geico, caveman. I still look at that meme and it makes me laugh. So whatever. But there's some interesting things though. The funny thing about that job was open last year.
Yeah.
Right?
Josh McDaniels.
They got Josh McDaniel. They hired all of the assistants he wanted before they got him on the contract.
And then he backed out.
And then he backs out. And then they go get Frank Reich, who inherits the staff.
He wasn't even considered for a job anywhere before that.
Yes. They had interviewed him, though. And they liked him.
Right.
But they wanted Josh McDaniel. And then all of a sudden that happened.
Do you think Josh McDaniels is just waiting around for Bill Belichick
We're
to
going to
retire?
talk. We're going to talk about that because either that he is the dumbest human on earth. So because he's got to be kicking himself. But yeah, we need to bring that up here in a second. But anyway, you've got coordinators in the game now.
Right.
Like on that team, he did not hire. Right. Obviously, Frank Reich's making the plays, and something I really liked on the sideline in that game was Jacoby Brissett. Beside him helping call plays.
Yeah.
Like it was really cool to watch that dynamic with that team. So I think it says a lot for Frank Reich and how he must have gone in there and just said, all right, guys, what's the scheme? What are we doing? They run a Tampa 2, right? Old school Steelers defense, old school Tampa defense. It's pretty crazy. Cowboys run the same style of defense, and they've got it on lockdown. Like they played lights out, and it was really funny to see them sort of scheme up against Deshaun. Deshaun just didn't play well. He doesn't. I don't think he plays well against that kind of system, defensive system. He was struggling to find the lanes. Now, the Colts are going to Kansas City,
Right.
right, and.
Oh wait, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Colts are going to Kansas City, and I expect that game to be better, obviously. But defensively, they're not going to be able to play like they played this weekend against the Chiefs. That's going to be a high score. We can talk about that in a minute. But
I saw a stat before the Colts game where it said they let opposing QBs through the regular season complete 73% of their passes on average.
yeah.
Through 16
I mean, the
games.
Dolphins played them and should have beat them. We let
I do
Andrew
remember
Luck.
that.
We let Andrew Luck. No, we gave Andrew Luck that last he got luck. There was like a penalty. We got stupid pass interference play, and then and then we let him win that game. But we sacked him like a ton that game, even though he didn't get sacked much that season.
Right,
You
he
know,
got
this
sacked
season.
like 18 times.
Yeah, so listen, good for the Colts. All that stuff about Josh McDaniel came up today, with all the coaching searches.
Right.
He's got to, they even asked him today in a press conference, hey, and he's like, the door's closed on 2019. He only interviewed for the Packers job, and he did not get it. I think they told him no.
Would you put that much faith in him taking the job after
No,
you interviewed?
if I were an owner or a GM, hell no. No.
I wouldn't consider him.
Not even. I mean, he sort of flamed out so fast at the Broncos back in the day.
That is true.
I mean, he flamed out. The only fun thing he did was get Tebow.
And then he didn't even have faith in Tebow, so
Yeah, it was really weird. And even though Tebow, I think Tebow would have been a great quarterback in the NFL in 1972, but in the modern era of football, he just he should have been the dude that the Saints are using right now to sort of move around the field, But
Right.
McDaniel did not do himself any favors over there.
Tebow had the size to switch to tight end if he wanted to.
Yes, he could have. He could have been incredible. But so I don't know. McDaniel is probably kicking himself. I do wonder how good of a season he would have had, because that's his D coordinator. He picked that guy. He picked that staff. Mm-hmm. So hey, what's up?
Oh, I was going to say, when I was watching the Colts game, one thing that I was really impressed with, not only the offensive line, but Marlon Mack had 104,
Yes.
almost 150
He's
yards.
got a crazy running style. Well,
Yeah,
I mean that O line is.
It's good.
But okay, so that run scheme though, I think it's almost identical to the Eagles, which can't run worth a crap, by the way. The Eagles
2.8 yards.
Yeah, the Eagles didn't run worth a
carry.
crap, but it looked very similar. But you could argue that they added those two rookies on the O line. The Colts did.
Yep.
And those two dudes, I think it was the right tackle and left guard, right?
Yep.
Left guard is the
Left guard's
Pro
all
Bowler.
pro. The all pro.
He's the All Pro.
And right tackle was
He
a
is
fifth rounder or something.
He's an animal, man. I mean, J.J. Watt made some plays, Clowney made some plays, but it's still but of course, what they're going to face at the Chiefs is going to be totally different. But
right.
it was fun to watch Andrew Luck dominate. I think if they're the hottest team now, because your Ravens are out. I think in the AFC.
Don't talk about that
Could we
yet,
argue
okay?
that right now?
Yeah, right now.
They're the team that I would not want to play.
I mean, they've won 10 of their last 11, right?
Yeah.
Or 11 of the last 12,
Yeah.
something like that. They're...
And they beat good teams. They didn't beat scrubs.
Right, yeah.
They beat
actually
obviously
lost-
good teams.
They lost to bad teams when they
Yeah.
lost.
The division, I think it was a division team.
Yeah.
The Jaguars, I think. So which is
When Jaguars were 3-0, and everyone's like, "Oh, they're good this year."
I know. All right. Okay. Next game.
The Cowboys beat the Seahawks.
You know what?
4-22.
Well,
What a game! First off,
we called that game, right?
Yes.
We called that game. I'm pretty sure.
Or, no, I think I called the Seahawks actually.
I called the boys, I think, because I felt this was always my thing. How can you go against Russell Wilson? What's up?
Well, I was going to say when Janikowski got hurt trying to kick that field goal in
A
the
little
second
bit of a
quarter.
drama king, man.
Yeah, well, he didn't come back into the game.
No,
he was
didn't.
done.
Yeah, he
So
was
that
done.
Basically changed
He
the
got
whole.
hurt. He got hurt.
Yep.
He got hurt a few weeks ago. I saw him get hurt, but Zeke, man, that dude, he falls forward for 6 yards.
He does.
I don't know what he finds these little creases and just. And I'm like, man, but he's you can tell he's a very smart running back, very smart player. Good for Dak. Like I was really like I wanted to see Dak get a win. Like, and did you see that run he made towards the end of the game where he went for that? It was the old Steve Young play. I've seen McNair do it over the years. Like he just put his body on the line, went for that goal line, and his entire team went nuts after that play. Did you see the reaction?
Yeah.
I thought he scored, but it was
but still, like you can tell, like that was what they needed as a team. I think because he's not, he's not super accurate. He's just not.
He's not. Ezekiel Elliott takes the pressure off of him.
Yeah, Dak cannot. He's just never going to be like that high percentage passer, and it's sort of weird because most of the time offensive coordinators they purposely design the offenses for those guys to get into that sort of habit, especially in their play calling. They want to get them into a rhythm, but I tell you what though, they got that Amari Cooper trade. Amari Cooper made some plays.
Paid off
He really does, because I watched him with the Raiders, but the Raiders were so up and down. It was they weren't televised as much. Cowboys are televised all the time.
They're America's team.
And but man, he really does run some of the best routes. Like he comes out of his route with 3-yard cushions against number 1 corners.
Yep.
Week 10, they were 4-5. The Cowboys were.
Yeah, they were.
Redskins 6-3. Cowboys and Eagles were both tied at 4-5, and they traded for Cooper.
Wait,
here you are now.
Didn't you guys hate? Don't you guys think that I trashed the Redskins?
I did.
That got back to me. I want to defend myself with this real fast, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I blame the freaking Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, I bet against the Eagles all year, and the reason I bet against the Eagles all year, because I thought your Skins were gonna take the division,
And they would have
We
if
would
Alex
have.
Smith did not get injured.
100% correct. And I do not hate Alex Smith. He was doing great for you guys. You guys were 6-3 when he went down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, and doing well in that game.
And then y'all lost how many in a
No,
row, right?
he was not.
He was not doing well in that game.
Threw 2 interceptions. One was a pick 6.
Oh, it was bad.
Oh, okay.
It was
I
bad.
remember.
It was bad.
It was bad,
And
but he got
then
hurt.
Colt McCoy came in, and then
They
Coach told him
got
to break
hurt.
a leg. Like he
Literally
told me
got hurt.
Sunday.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
So, so let's talk about that division because it does bring into the whole Cowboys winning the division and then Philly, right? Because
Sure.
I literally picked against Philly all year. I really did.
I called your bluff on the Colts and the Eagles,
You did.
and they're both in.
I even told my dad a few weeks ago, Eagles are trash. Forget it. Like I was
Not
like, there's
with
no way.
Foles.
There's no way they're gonna make it.
The Foles magic is here.
But my thinking was, but the Skins were, even when they were like 7-7,
They still had a chance.
they had a chance. And I was thinking to myself, Jay Gruden's gonna pull it off over there.
They never had a chance.
Well,
when Alex
listen,
Smith's leg
AP
snapped, it was done.
But AP had a 1,000-yard year.
He did.
Rushing, right?
He had almost 1,100 yards.
So
Wow.
we might as well just talk about the future
He
of
is
the Redskins.
he is number 8 in rushing this year in the league.
So
That's
let
crazy.
me tell you all why I do. Number one, I do not hate the Redskins, but let me tell you a story about a Cuban kid that moved here from Miami, Florida. That would be me, okay? And when I first came here, the only thing broadcast on our television stations were Redskins football games. That was it.
was this like the 80s?
80s,
Okay.
straight up.
Yeah.
No, 7 years ago. No, just kidding. But I'm serious. I moved to this area. I come from Miami. That's a long story. We don't need to get into that. But I was like, what the heck are the Redskins are always on TV? As a kid, I was like, where are the Dolphins? So my dad, those huge satellite dishes, the old school big, like they literally took like 30 seconds to turn like 4 feet. They were like, right? We got one of those so we can just watch Dolphins games. Like that's what we lived out in the middle of nowhere. We didn't even have cable. It was awful, to be honest. But so I did grow up watching like the Theismann years, all those years. I grew up. I never hated it. All my friends were Redskins fans. But I was like, why are they they were the only broadcast.
That was before the Panthers were
Yeah.
around. So you had, I guess the closest sports
So we
were...
do have a big... My brother-in-law is a huge Skins fan. And his son, my nephew, his son is. So there's a huge fan base here of Redskins fans in North Carolina and even South Carolina. Because that was all that was broadcast here for a lot of years until we got Carolina, the Carolina Panthers. Now, do y'all pull for Carolina at all? Is it like your second team?
Like a
y'all don't even give a rip?
Not really.
Dude, they are stone cold. They are stone cold. They're like, nope.
We were born Redskins fans.
I love it.
If we're die Redskins fans.
We're kind of partially, well, I am a little bit of a Cleveland Browns fan on the side.
Really?
But they've been horrible
on
too.
the AFC side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy for
fair.
them, though. They got. I think they found themselves a quarterback.
I think they have.
Finally.
Sure.
Yeah.
So,
I was surprised that he was the one that panned out the best this season out of the draft last year.
me too. You never know, man. Listen, these dudes, these front offices spend millions scouting these kids. Right? Millions. You know the NFL investigated Baker Mayfield like 18 months before the draft? The NFL did. Because they knew he had a chance he was going to be the first round pick. I think, to be honest, his book, like they already knew what he was about. They were just trying to avoid the whole, what's his name, fiasco that happened a couple of years before. The other first round pick they picked up. Quarterback, you remember
Johnny Manziel?
Yeah, I think they were literally avoiding Johnny Manziel. I don't even wait. Did he flame out from the CFL already?
Yeah.
I think he did.
Yeah.
So that's a tragedy. But I think the NFL saw what they did with Manziel, and they're like, okay, we can't have another kid coming into the league doing this, and they so. But I'm glad for the Browns. But that's funny, y'all. Y'all don't even care about the Panthers. I love it, man.
Does anyone in this actual room care for the Panthers? Do you care for the Panthers?
They're like my second-ish team. Like I'm not, and I tell you why. My son's a huge Atlanta Falcons fan. Gabe loves Julio Jones, and that around here you say that people are like, "Oh my god!" But he just loves Julio. So we go. I've got a good friend of mine that gets me tickets every year. We'll go see Atlanta play Carolina. I don't hate Cam. I don't hate that team at all. That team brought professional football to my state. I've seen the Dolphins almost every year. I have seen the Dolphins, I think, every year they've been here in some form. And I love it. So, and from that aspect, I'm glad the team's here. But, when they made the playoff run a few years ago, I was pulling for them.
Yeah, I was
fair.
too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll pull for them when it's convenient.
Well, it's different. They're in the same division, so that's tough.
Yeah.
Right, that's same. But you know what? We have a lot of things in common as fans, and it's mediocrity.
Oh. Yes. Jay.
Like when you think about the Redskins, and the Dolphins franchise, right? Not a lot of playoff berths in the last couple of years. Last 10 years, I think we've had 2. How many have y'all had?
I think 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we had Gruden.
We had one with RG3 and Mike Shanahan.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was,
And then
that was a heck of a run.
That was
fantastic.
That was a magical
3-6. One out.
Yeah.
Finished
Yeah.
10-6.
Magical year.
And they used RG3
And that ended
all in
badly.
one
The start
season.
and end of an era.
Yeah,
Right
that
there.
ended so badly.
The Shanahans ruined his career by playing him while he was hurt.
Oh, yeah,
So,
for sure.
Yeah. You
or
think
just allowing him to
there's a
play
lot of
while
drama
he was
with
hurt.
that, with him and the Shanahan still.
And then 2015, we won the division.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's when Tony Romo was hurt. And
Who was the quarterback that year?
I think Matt Castle was the quarterback for the Cowboys.
I remember that.
Oh, okay.
I remember
that was before.
that.
That was right before they drafted Dak, right?
Yeah.
So do you guys
Yeah.
like Jay Gruden? Like, what do you think about Jay? I don't think he's awful.
I don't think he's bad, but I don't see anybody else out there that's going to be better.
That's
fair.
what I was
Yeah, that's
thinking.
fair. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking with Gase, with Adam Gase. I was thinking, okay, if the Dolphins fire Adam Gase,
Who do we have to
who's
replace him?
better? Who's better? And I'm like, I don't see anybody, but you never know. Like, you honestly never know.
It's kind of hard to gauge Gruden because our team has been so hurt over the last couple of years.
That's the way the Dolphins have been.
I mean,
So,
if-
like 2 years in a row, you've all like last year. It was your O-line last year, right? It was bad.
But both years. Last year, 23 people on injured reserve. This year, 24.
But it's not. But it's not the only team though. Like there was 8 teams that had like 20 plus injuries.
The Ravens.
The
have
Dolphins were
every
on there.
year been one of them.
Dolphins, the Redskins. There have been a couple of teams on that list. And I don't know what it is, man. Like what I don't know if it's their trading staffs. I don't know if there's something they're doing with their analytics, like they're missing that other teams. It's like the Patriots don't have that stuff, right?
Exactly. But for it to be back-to-back seasons, they have to be doing something wrong.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like you don't hear of that though, do you?
No.
Strength and conditioning is bad, apparently, in off-season.
Think about Denver, okay? You're in Denver. You're up in thousands of, there's people like Ryan Clark from the Steelers couldn't play in Denver because he had some kind of condition. The elevation was so high there, right? And then, between that and the marijuana smoke, you think there would be some kind of weird issues going on with the players, but
They're just fine up there.
they're doing fine. Like, I don't know. There's certain teams that are healthier than others.
not the
So
Redskins.
it's tough. But the Dolphins, it's been the same. I mean, really, when Adam Gase didn't have a healthy Tannehill for an entire season the whole time he was there, amongst many other things. And it's hard when your owner, like my owner is an absentee owner, Steve Ross. He has somebody that runs the team for him, right? And then y'all's owner, little crazy, has
Daniel
a reputation.
Money, money, money.
He
Spend
blows
on everyone.
Hey, I do.
Bruce Allen and
this
Dan
is not
Snyder.
a political podcast. So I don't care. But did you know of all the coaches, not coaches, the owners in the NFL? He by far gave the most to Trump. By the way, I just want to let you know, Daniel Snyder. Okay, go ahead.
He signed Reuben Foster.
Yeah.
I mean, they signed Reuben Foster.
Who cares?
like-
I think Trump would have signed Reuben Foster, to be honest. Okay.
it's...
All right, but anyway, so what do you think about your owner, though? Do y'all have a CEO of the team?
Bruce Allen.
Okay,
It goes
so
Dan
he's-
Snyder, Bruce Allen,
Is it Doug
And-
Williams below that?
Doug Williams.
Oh,
is
yeah,
below-
you guys
yeah.
have Doug Williams in the front
See,
office now.
And the reason I don't like Bruce Allen is because, they picked up Reuben Foster. They could have
Yeah.
let him clear waivers, get everything settled up, and then,
And
went
he
after
got
him.
cleared, by the way.
He did.
All the charges got dropped this week.
I mean, like we said
They
on
got
Sunday,
dropped.
though.
But where there's smoke, there's fire. Okay.
Of course. He's a knucklehead, man. He's obviously a knucklehead.
Just imagine that you're with a female, and this isn't the first time this has happened. This is the third time it's happened with
Yes.
having issues with her
Yes.
specifically. And the first time, apparently, she was like, "Well, I only did it for money," and those charges got dropped.
And then what was the second time? Because I saw the video on the third one.
I can't remember, but why would you go back to her
Well,
anyway?
I just saw the body cam video for the last one.
Yeah.
And it was so weird. He comes to the front door. They're in this duplex, not duplex, but a condo. It looks like an apartment complex. And he's out there talking to the police officer. He's very, well-spoken. The girlfriend or his wife, whatever, I guess it's his girlfriend, comes out. She's just talking. And then they just casually arrest him. And I was like, this is really boring to watch.
That's the best type of
I was
arrest,
like, I was about to ask you. I was like, does that happen in Blowing Rock? Because I'm like, what the heck is going on here? They're just talking, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Okay, we're gonna have to take you in. We're gonna have to take you in.
That's the best
Ruben.
type of arrest right there. Yeah.
And Ruben's just he does get he does say something a little bit smart, but it was nothing it wasn't like the videos, like the Ray Rice video or
the
what's
the,
Kareem Hunt
Kareem
video.
Hunt video.
Yeah,
Oh my
it was
God.
nothing. It was nothing inflammatory like that. So listen, we do have a lot in common. We have average franchises. I'm a fan. I'm a diehard Fins fan. I will always be. But I will say this: I used to pay for the Sunday ticket. I used to get the little extras. Right? I said, bump that. Done. I'm not when they did their last reset with Tannehill, they've reset the team 3 times with the same quarterback. 3 times. 3 times.
He's not good.
I was done. And I didn't hate Tannehill, but they paid him and are still paying him $16 million a
much
year
money.
for potential. Think about that. $16
Isn't he
million
30
a year.
years old?
Yes.
For potential.
He is now. Well, he's broken down now.
That's the Redskins' problem. They spend all their money in one place.
Hainsworth.
Hainsworth, Adam Archuleta.
See, but he
all these
hasn't
terrible.
done that. But they haven't done that since Jay's gotten there, though. I don't feel like the Alex Smith play was perfect because I thought Alex Smith fit that system,
That's very
the
true.
West Coast system, perfectly. That was a smart free agent pickup.
But with Alex Smith and Kirk Cousins,
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins is better. I would say better than average.
What did you think of Kirk Cousins? Like, my brother-in-law hated him. He's like, he never was the big game.
Oh, he's horrible in the big game.
He's 0-8.
Horrible in prime time.
And he has proven that for the Vikings, by the way.
I didn't want to re-sign him because that was way too much money.
Really?
Look at the Vikings.
He got a guaranteed deal.
They just had to win to get in.
Yeah.
And they
They couldn't even do that with the Bears.
2016, they had to beat the Giants' second string, Kirk Cousins.
I remember that.
And
I remember that.
at the very end of the game,
remember that.
at the very end of the game, he could have ran for a first down. He had like 20 yards in front of him
Yes.
open, and he threw an interception.
And that's when you know.
So, I mean, I was glad.
As a fan, you're like, son of a gun.
Much worse than that.
I know. Oh, I know.
But
I get.
I was glad that he left. I mean, he's a great guy, but I'm glad he's gone.
Well, you know, because what's funny is we looked up his statistics a few weeks ago because we were looking at all the free agent quarterbacks. If Alex Smith would have stayed healthy, he would have been the best free agent quarterback by far that switched teams this year. You know, what's his name over at Denver became doo-doo butts. Casey Keenum didn't really do much. And then obviously
he didn't have the talent that the Vikings had.
I would say, like, who do you have on the Broncos to throw to?
Then Kirk Cousins, you know, the Vikings at the end of the season, their coach came out and said, listen, Tony Sparano, our O-line coach, he died at the beginning of the season. He was like, when he died, it really affected our team. Like, because he had a big voice in the offensive room with him as an organization. The O-line loved him. He was a really good high-energy coach. And he was like, hey, that did affect our team. And I'm wondering, like, okay, he's still on that staff. You think they're throwing it like 70% of the time? No, they're not going to be throwing it. Kirk Cousins threw it. I mean, they must have, like, his contract must run certain plays to keep my completion rate 70+%.
Yeah,
So
really.
when Kirk Cousins was in D.C. and he had those two back-to-back 4,000-yard seasons,
Yes.
he had Deshaun Jackson and Pierre Garçon. A lot of those throws, he was just throwing it underneath
Yes.
and letting the receivers make the plays.
Right.
You know who was the king of that? Ryan Tannehill. I would say 70% of those throws were like these high completion, low risk throws.
Yeah.
Gase, it was almost like our coordinator, you know, Gase was calling the plays, was like hiding the deficiency of the quarterback. So it's almost, and you know, granted, nowadays I feel like a lot of our offensive systems are very, you know, like I watched the national college game last night.
Right, yeah.
Clemson, which was really good. It was really
And
entertaining.
surprising, kind of.
But you see how fast their offenses are? Yeah. Like those kids, the quarterbacks make their decisions. And those are the best quarterbacks in the game. Between Tua and what's his last name?
Lawrence, I think.
He's a freshman, too.
Yeah, that was an incredible game. I hate Nick Saban. I hate everything about him.
Roll Tide!
Yeah, I cannot handle. I just do. Oh my God, I hated him.
You know, Clemson scored right away with that pick six.
It's awesome.
And then Alabama came back and just threw that.
Tua's. See, that shows you Tua is. They're both great quarterbacks, but I love his attitude. I don't think it was Tua's fault they lost that game, by the way. I think they got out coached.
Yeah.
Clemson came with some stuff that they were not prepared for. And then on top of that, Lawrence, like, the more he got into the game, the more clutch he got better.
Yep.
I mean, he came out in the second half and got better.
Yep.
And Alabama trying that fake field goal.
That was the stupidest play.
It's like they even knew it was coming.
Saban. And then Saban's over there, like, he's using every cuss word in the
You can
book.
just, I don't know.
He's not used to losing.
No. That's the worst loss he's ever had there.
Yeah, it was by far the worst, but and I enjoyed seeing it. But the bottom line is, those were freshman QBs, but on a clinic. I think they still have to play 2 more years before they can get into the NFL, which is a whole different debate. But I will say, tank for Tua, tank for Lawrence. I don't care. I don't care if the Dolphins win 2 games next season. If we get a chance to draft those kids in 2 years, I'm down for it.
That's fair.
I'm down for it. So, but anyway, listen, I don't hate the Redskins, guys. I don't harbor any hostility towards really any NFC team. I just really don't. No, I hate I hate the Patriots so much it consumes my days. Sometimes I'm praying. I pray that their downfall happens this year.
We hate the Patriots so bad as well. We pulled for the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Me too.
I'm proud of
Okay.
you.
Which brings me back to my problem. Why do I keep on betting against Nick Foles?
I keep telling you
That dude,
not to do that.
That dude at that Chicago game. He didn't start. They didn't start off hot,
No.
and they can't run the ball worth doo-doo. But then all of a sudden, he's just, makes play, drops a dime. Oh, okay, boom, boom.
He threw 2 interceptions in that game as well, and they still found a way to win.
Dude,
Yeah.
well,
Against that Bears defense.
okay,
Yeah.
I texted Gage in the middle of that game. We were talking about this, but, how teams are built, right? Chicago, when they got Khalil Mack, right, they had a lot of cap space this year. They still do, by the way. So they made some moves. They went and got Khalil. They really set up their team to be the best defense in the league, right? The problem is building your team that way, and we're going to talk about the Ravens game, right, is that the rule book in the NFL does not help you
No,
when
it
you're
really
a
goes
defensive
against you,
team.
yeah.
It's so bad. If it were that good to be a defensive team, Lunatic up in Boston would build his teams that way. But he doesn't. He builds his teams with offensive power, bend but don't break defense. That's what he does up there. Talking about the Patriots style of defense. And so here we are watching Chicago play the Eagles. It was actually a very good game. Trubisky basically has to make 2 big plays. He made them.
Yeah.
In his credit, at that last drive, he made a great pass. I was like, look at that.
Signs of talent.
Yeah, I was like, there you go. But I don't like him. I don't like Trubisky.
Were you referring to him as Rex Grossman 2.0?
Yeah, that-
Yes, I was. I was about to say, I was like, this dude is, it's like watching Rex Grossman
It
because
is, though.
Rex Grossman had a heck of a season. One incredible season with the Bears. They didn't want to give him that job. It was Kyle Orton's job. Remember Kyle Orton? It was Kyle's job. But Rex goes in there and started winning all the games, and they stuck with him through the Super Bowl, and then, of course, Indy beats them that year. But, Trubisky, he's a one-read quarterback.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. I think that's one of the things Cam has had to work on not being a one-read quarterback. And this is it. You're going to build your team to be a defensive juggernaut. You're going to ask your quarterback to have to make 1 or 2 plays. Well, they make the play. They leave it up to the field goal kicker. Obviously, it gets blocked. He didn't miss it. It was a block. But that style of building a team is so bad.
Well, here's the thing. You literally have to have a crazy run game to have a fantastic defense, because if you're passing the ball like crazy, your defense is freaking tired.
And Chicago is committed. The contracts commit. He's committed for 2 years.
Yeah.
But if I'm the GM and I'm crazy, Ricky Rod crazy GM, I would be drafting another QB, because I'm in the back of my mind. I'm like, I don't feel really good with Mitch,
We had this good of a year, and
despite of him.
Yeah.
In my opinion, despite the quarterback,
It's hard to win 12 games in the NFL.
It really
you get
and
very
to
lucky.
lose in the playoffs to the Eagles.
9-7 Eagles.
9-7 Eagles.
Who had to watch
Yeah.
Minnesota lose and then win to get in the playoffs.
By the way, after that Chicago game, Nick
Oh, my
Foles
God.
still has a 105 quarterback rating, the highest quarterback rating of any quarterback. Nick Foles.
Yes. But the Eagles have a problem on their hands.
Well,
And
they
that-
can't run the ball.
They can't run the ball.
Yeah.
But after playoffs, I know that if they pick
what
up
happens?
what happens
Oh,
with
with
Foles.
Wentz.
With
That's
Wentz,
about
Foles.
with Wentz.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so that's they threw Nick Foles some money after the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
And they gave him like a $2.5 million bonus, and they bumped him up a little bit. Free money, right? I read a few articles where people are like, trade Wentz, the team plays better for Foles. They got a point.
Yeah, they do have a point.
They do, but
But
Foles is older than Wentz.
Yes.
Wentz has a bright future ahead of him.
Wentz, before he went down with the injury, was playing
He was playing
lights
good.
out.
He was playing good.
Would have won the MVP. But he got-
Last year?
yes.
Yeah.
He would have won the MVP,
He
but
was
he got
playing good
hurt.
this year.
Yes, he was. But then he got hurt again.
But But you have to agree, Gage. The Eagles, that team responds better to Foles.
They play differently because he won the Super Bowl with them.
Okay, Golden Tate catches the game-winning touchdown.
What did he do before that?
Nothing.
Well,
He's done nothing
well,
for the
that's
Eagles.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like with Wentz in the game, when Wentz was playing, he really didn't utilize Golden Tate a lot. And you got to give it to Peterson, the coach. Is it Peterson, the coach?
Yeah,
Doug Peterson.
Doug Peterson made a great play call. It was a great play call on that pass, the game-winning touchdown. But Golden Tate was a perfect wide receiver to run that route.
Yeah.
Especially against that
slot
defender.
receiver, yeah. For sure.
So, they have an issue if Foles keeps winning.
I think they can pick up an option for Foles, but it's like $20 million.
Yeah, and that's
my God.
yeah, and that's the problem. Like, because there's rumors like the Dolphins may try to get him. There's a couple of franchises because Flacco's gonna be available. That's for sure gonna happen.
Yeah.
But I have some stuff to say about that too.
Gosh, I
by
have
the way,
plenty to say
it's
about
very
my team.
positive.
I
It's very
think-
positive. Though.
I think Flacco could go to Miami
and do okay.
and do okay.
Yeah, and that there's a lot of things that could happen. And see, I'm wondering the Jags are gonna go after him, the Broncos. But still, like Foles. There's something I don't know if it's I don't know. Maybe it's just a play calling with him and Doug Peterson.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd let him go if I'm Doug Peterson
No.
I don't think they can afford it. Probably
to keep him.
To keep him.
That's
a lot of money.
How old is
Are you going
Foles
to pay
this
your
year?
backup quarterback $20 million?
He's got to be in his 30s.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Let's not forget, because a lot of
He
people
hasn't played a lot.
Right,
either.
right. I mean, it's kind of like remember Forsett for the Ravens.
Yes,
Where
running back.
he was like a career backup, and at 30 years old, he had 1,500 yard
Yeah,
rushing
he
year.
had a breakout year.
Because he has fresh legs.
Yeah.
It's with Foles. I mean, half his career he's been sitting on the bench.
I don't know. Foles. See, first of all, he's a big time believer. He's a big time Christian, and he really likes being up there. So I'm wondering if he does work out something with the team long term and go okay, like because an average backup quarterback, a good one, I think still makes like $2.5 million a year, $3 million a year. Yeah, they make a lot of money.
I saw some signings this year where like Chase Daniels for the Browns got like $6 million per year, and he's a third stringer.
They make a lot. Well, the average, I think the average over the year, but he made a lot of money. They may just say, okay, let us bump you up a little higher than that, and then because Wentz is still on his rookie deal,
Yeah.
and he ain't getting paid that much.
No.
Like those rookie deals ain't that much. If they could buy time with Foles and do another year next year, and then they're like, okay, Wentz, we for sure letting you go.
Yeah,
That would be the worst.
yeah. I think they need to keep him around just in case because we've seen Wentz is
Wentz is a
injury
good
prone.
quarterback,
Hey, you
though.
got teams that can't get quarterbacks, and those crackers got two.
I think
Yeah,
if
I know.
I think if Foles was to go to Jacksonville,
I say the word crackers as a term of endearment and love. I just want to point that out, and if anybody accuses me of anything else, they can kiss the booty. Okay, go ahead.
That is true though.
I think if Nick Foles was to go down to the Jaguars,
They would be a playoff team.
You have Leonard Fournette.
Well, actually, they might not.
I think
they
they're
might
going to
not
let
have
Leonard Fournette go. I think that kid, he has not endeared himself to that franchise.
No.
He has not, but that's a lot of talent.
You're right.
Well,
That's a lot
him
of fun.
and
They're not
TJ
gonna-
Yeldon both like sat out the entire game, pretty much like pouting, and they're like, "We don't like
yeah,
that."
I think that running backs room must be really toxic there.
I mean, look at the quarterbacks for the team.
I wouldn't blame
I
them
would
either.
understand that.
Well,
And then, like-
when teams, what's weird is like when teams have bad quarterbacks, you always hear the whispers from the journalist at the end of the season. Oh, they don't like Blake Bortles, and then sure enough with Tannehill, because Tannehill is considered a choir boy. He's like a Boy Scout. He really is. He there's not a bad mean bone in the dude's body. He's just but he's just not
He's
Baker
mediocre.
Mayfield.
right.
Right? Like Baker Mayfield's team would run through a brick wall for him. He's nuts. He plays like a linebacker. He plays like LT. But he's a quarterback. And Tannehill is just not a leader, in that aspect of and sure enough, by the end of the year, we heard all these rumors. Like the team was like, you this time to move on from him. Time to move on. Gase was too loyal, yada yada, and that may be a situation with the Eagles after this run. Like, hey, okay, are they being too loyal for Foles? We'll start seeing the whispers. Watch.
Hypothetically, if the Eagles were to make it to the NFC Championship game or even make it
I
back
don't
to the
think they're
Super Bowl,
getting past this round, but
I don't think they are either. But hypothetically, if they were to make it that far, how do you ship somebody that won you the Super Bowl and
Man,
made
crazier
it back
things
to the
have
title
happened,
game.
bro. Well, okay, one of my favorite examples. Do y'all remember the quarterback that was supposed to be the starting quarterback the year Russell Wilson got drafted for the Seahawks?
Matt Flynn?
Boom, baby! Okay, so Matt Flynn.
He had a good preseason too.
Matt Flynn had one good game for the Packers. Went in. They scored like 70,000 points.
It was he threw 5 touchdowns.
Yes, yeah.
Went
off.
about that.
Didn't really do much the rest of the season, but he had that. He showed a flash. Seahawks go out. I remember this because the Dolphins were looking at getting him that year. He went down to the Dolphins, went and visited a couple other teams. Indianapolis was on that list that year. There was like a bunch of people. He went to Seattle, got got a big deal, got a big contract. All right? Seahawks draft Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's knock was his size and the college, where he came from in college.
Didn't he start out at NC State?
Yeah,
And then he
and then
transferred to
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin?
Yeah. And because the coach there, the NC State coach didn't like him being
Playing
a two-sport
baseball.
athlete. So that was the knock, too, which it doesn't give a rip, by the way. So he goes to Seattle, lights it up, and they drop Matt Flynn. And Matt Flynn, popped up. I forgot where he popped up.
The Raiders.
Yes. Flamed out instantly. So, but I don't think that's going to happen to Wentz. I don't think that'll happen to any of these guys. I think, the free agent, Blake Bortles probably will flame out. But Flacco, if he goes to a team, he will help that team most likely. Nick Foles or Carson Wentz, either one of them.
Well, when he was with the Eagles the first time around, he was
Yes.
good.
He threw 7 touchdowns.
Well,
in one game. Remember that.
he was with Chip Kelly.
Yes.
The
And
year
he broke his
collarbone.
collarbone, and Michael Vick came in,
And then destroyed. I mean, he went on a mad tear. But Chip Kelly's offensive system was new. It did take the NFL a little bit to get used to what they were doing. Very similar to what we saw the Ravens do. Like the Ravens, they kicked in some old school running concepts, mixed it in with some new concepts, and then the Chargers figured it out. They cracked the code, right? Let's get to that game. So let's
talk about this.
So, but Gage, they added what the Chargers had. They added. We might as well talk about this game. The Chargers, they went instead of with size, they went with speed. They added like a sixth corner, right? Is that what they did?
They played I think 6 defensive backs the entire game or something like that.
Yeah, to because this was their third crack.
Yeah, or second time.
I think
playing.
it was their third.
Second time playing Lamar.
Third time playing
No
the
one
team.
had played Lamar twice.
Okay. Yes.
Or once yet until them.
But the thing that hurt the Ravens, obviously, was the turnovers.
Not having more than 25 passing yards in the fourth quarter.
Well, that's the problem.
Last 3 drives.
Woo! That's the problem, though.
Jackson came in to the fourth quarter with a 0
Passer rating.
Yeah,
and negative 2 yards.
0.
So what did you think when... Did you hear the crowd calling out for Flacco?
I thought that was ridiculous.
Okay, you thought they needed to stay with Lamar.
The thing
right?
is...
Really? The Twins disagree.
Here's the problem
Gage.
here.
The Twins disagree.
The Ravens need to stay with Lamar because he's the future. What does Joe Flacco have for this
I
season?
want to hear your argument,
Nothing.
Twins. Let's go.
Gage, I know we had this conversation Sunday. When a franchise, moves on from somebody to somebody else, you have to stick with that decision. Like Aaron Rodgers from Brett Favre. Tony Romo from I guess Drew Bledsoe or whatever.
Yeah. Brett Favre was awful to Aaron Rodgers, by the way, for the record. Okay, go ahead.
I know you said when they make that decision they have to stick with it. But you're also in the playoffs, and I know if you would switch at that time, it would show lack of trust in Jackson.
He had his helmet.
He was standing by Harbaugh in the third quarter.
I think they were going to put him in, and this is what I think happened. I think Harbaugh wanted to put him in. I think old Ozzie Newsome up there called the sideline. He said, no, Mr. Harbaugh.
Well,
you keep Lamar in.
I think around that time, the crowd was chanting for Flacco, and all the players responded so negatively.
Yeah, they did.
That really showed Harbaugh.
Well, Lamar was the reason they even got there.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Lamar, but hey, the Chargers exposed what everybody was saying.
Yep.
That if they force him to throw, what's going to happen? Everybody was saying it. And listen, the same thing happened to Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson wasn't that accurate either.
Well, no.
You know.
We were in church,
Oh.
and I told Gage, I said, it's going to be a low-scoring game. I said 21-17 is going to be Chargers.
You were so close.
pretty dead on.
and I
honestly.
was so close. And I said, they're not going to win because what do you have to do to win in the playoffs? You have to throw the ball.
You're right.
And I text Gage. I was like, Lamar Jackson had one of the
See, I had
best
no
stats
faith.
I've ever seen.
I
at
still have
halftime.
no faith in the Chargers. Like I still don't have a lot of faith in Phillip Rivers.
I don't.
I have a love-hate relationship with Phillip Rivers. The dude's got 10 kids. He's like a redneck mouthy cowboy. I don't like Phillip Rivers.
He is.
He's super mouthy.
I love Philip
Like,
because I'm a
people
State fan.
Who
so-
won?
He's like, hey man, blah, blah, blah. You see him yelling at the sideline. You know he's yelling like a redneck. I'm like, you're in L.A., bro.
Interesting fact.
Okay.
He's 0-7 against Tom Brady.
Yeah,
Well, let's
that's-
talk about that because there was a famous playoff game early on in Brady's career where they had the game sealed. Chargers had the game sealed. Their quarter makes an interception, fumbles the ball,
Oh.
and the Panthers, the Patriots are able to recover and win that game. That game is the single reason when you see a corner make an interception at a clutch position, they instantly go down.
Yeah.
Because of that play. I'll never forget that because LaDainian, right? Tomlinson
Yeah.
was on the team, that Chargers team. Mm-hmm. That Chargers team was an
They were like
incredibly...
13-3, 14-2.
That team was a great team. I felt so bad for them, but really that really was in the middle of the Patriots run too. That's one of the many lucky plays that went their way. So the Chargers have another chance. I looked at Phillip Rivers' numbers this year.
They were good till like the last 2 weeks.
Yes,
Honestly.
he had a great year. He played very conservatively in that game Sunday. He did not gunsling, and I'm telling you, they're calling for 5 inches of snow at the Patriots game.
Woo.
That's what they're calling for. There's going to be snow on the ground. But that doesn't scare me because I know they can run the ball and I know they can play defense.
Yep.
I really do. And I'm not sure. I mean, we've said this a million times. Brady's not 100%.
No.
Even at 80%, Brady's still better than pretty much every quarterback in the league. So I'm never going to bet against him at home, which is the stupidest thing you can ever do. But
There's a chance, dude.
the snow could flip. We could see a reverse of fortunes. I don't know. But going back to the Ravens game, man, like I felt bad for you.
The whole time I was watching, I was just kind of like accepting the fact that this is my quarterback for the.
Well,
the
do you
next
think
4
Harbaugh's
years.
staying? Because they still haven't announced any extension.
I think he's staying because like what he did for the team in the last, however many games Lamar was in for, they did really well, and to like flip the switch in a bye week to do that, they were like
I agree.
amazed.
I agree.
And the thing of it is, I think Lamar needs a coach like Harbaugh to help him grow. Yes.
Who's better? Who's better than Harbaugh out there right now?
Amen.
Well,
No one is half of
see,
Harbaugh
this
now.
is my argument though. All right, Ozzie Newsome, who's a Hall of Fame,
He just retired.
just retired. There's gonna be a switch
Eric
over.
DaCosta, or
Yeah,
Costa, whatever his name is, yeah.
DaCosta's taken over. But they're all they're a very close organization there. Like they seem to really have a united front about everything. So I'm wondering if I'm Harbaugh, like this is the cleanest break for him right now. It is. It's just the cleanest break because Ozzie's gone. There's gonna be a change of power with the team, and he's been there a long time now. How long has he been there?
It's been since like 2005, I think.
Yeah, so
2006.
So over 10 years.
Yeah.
And if you're him, do you want to have a chance? Like, do you want to have the power of like McVay over there
Oh, yeah.
at the Rams? Like he has so much power at his organization. Like he doesn't have that at that
Right.
structure of the Ravens. And I'm wondering if, and I'm just saying hypothetically, I'm not saying this is going to happen, even though I do believe the Dolphins have reached out. If the Dolphins reach out and say, hey, listen, we'll give you final say of the roster. We'll give you pick. You can shop the groceries. Come here. I do wonder like if this is the time he wants to take that shot.
Any team that he would go to would have a good chance to be a playoff team.
I agree.
Just because of the way he
it's just good coach.
forms these teams and makes them just such a cohesive unit.
And Flacco, and he said some very positive
They just
things
go
about. Did you
together,
hear what he said
honestly.
about Flacco this week in his press conference?
Yeah.
He said that Flacco is going to be a great quarterback in this league. He says they wish him well. They know he's going to go. They're going to purposely get him on a better team or a good team.
Have you seen like what Flacco has said about Lamar? Like literally, whenever they had the bye week, Flacco went in and said, "I know I'm hurt, and I'm here to support Lamar any way I can." And then they told him that they were going to move on and start Lamar for the rest of the season. He goes, "Okay, yeah, I'll do anything I can to help him."
Yeah, I mean, I was reading an article today. He's very humble.
Yeah.
Right now, he's not upset.
He said that was the best 11 years he could possibly have in the NFL.
I think if and you know what, when he came into the league, it was controversial because he came from what was considered a small school.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't so popular to go after those types of players from those small schools.
And that's what kind of gave teams more confidence to draft like FCS.
I mean, Wes Welker came from a smaller team.
Carson Wentz came from an FCS school.
Yeah, so it did open up the door, but dude, like when Flacco was on, he was cold as ice.
January Joe.
He had a couple of years there.
Especially
oh my
that
god!
Playoff run. 11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
I mean, they had to beat the Patriots, and they did it. And I loved him for it. I was a Ravens fan, bro.
Flacco is the only quarterback to have ever had a winning record against Brady.
Yeah.
Like in the playoffs. And he's beaten them twice at home.
And
at Foxborough.
Dude, what's funny is old crazy Ray Lewis. He needs an interpreter when he talks, right?
Oh my gosh. Come on now.
But Ray Lewis always would give him props, though.
Yeah.
Right? He always gave him props because... Think about it. They had Trent Dilfer there early on,
I saw Ravens fans because I'm in like a little group on Facebook. I say nothing because I like watching idiots talk about how people think Joe Flacco was worse than Trent Dilfer. Are you out of your mind?
No.
Are you serious?
No.
Like, and that's like a lot of the
Trent Dilfer has smoke screened everybody because he's become such a good analyst, and he's a little bit of a schmucky.
Ravens days.
He's a schmucky sales guy now.
Yeah.
A little bit with what he does, But no, I remember him when he played for the Bucks. Oh boy, do I remember! And I remember the Super Bowl run, and
I watched a video.
He literally. It was like, as long as he did not screw up, they didn't even have to score because their defense scored. The defense scored more than some offenses that year.
They held him to what? It was like 10 points a game. Any team.
He was great for that franchise, and it's actually a good split. It seems like it's going to be well done. I think RG3, I said this earlier this season, RG3 will become the backup officially.
That's good, that way they have similar systems. I think,
and it seems like
similar style.
Yeah.
And RG3 when he's come in the preseason, when he's come in, has looked okay. He's looked fine. So I think Lamar though needs to work on his throwing.
I will say, though, those last 3 drives, he looked as confident.
Yeah, he turned it on.
Ever.
He turned it on.
And
that needed to happen in the first
a little late, but...
yes, but that gave me hope as to what he could do later on.
Well...
Be dangerous. Because he already is pretty dangerous.
Sucks. I do hurt for you, but I'm glad they had that run.
Here's a bold prediction. If it's not really that bold, but if we re-sign Harbaugh, we will go like 12-4 next year.
Whew. Okay. All right.
We went 10-6 this year.
I'm going to try to remember that.
A mess in the beginning of the season. So
true story. Okay, what was the last game?
We already went over the Eagles.
Oh yeah. So there we go. So let's go ahead and pick the games, and then we can talk about the news real fast because there are some interesting news tidbits
Lots
I wanted
coaches
to bring up. Yeah.
All right, let's start with the Saturday games. The Colts at the Chiefs. I'm picking Andrew Luck.
I'm picking the Chiefs. What do you guys got?
I'm going Luck.
Really?
Yes!
Yeah. They're on fire right now.
I'm going to have to go with you, Ricky. I got to go with the Chiefs.
Okay.
I tell you what, can I say why I'm going with the Chiefs?
Yeah, sure. We can all, yeah.
I think this is the year. I've never felt that Andy Reid was a bad game manager, right? I've always felt he's been one of the top coaches.
Right, yeah.
I think now he's finally got his killer quarterback. That's what I think.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be smart enough to scheme that defense to cover up their sins.
I just don't think they can defend Andrew Luck, dude.
That is a major.
That's possible.
That is a major concern. But
and Marlon Mack.
But if there's a quarterback on this earth that can outscore Luck right now, it is Mahomes.
It's because Mahomes has a little bit better weapons.
Yeah.
Just
all right.
a
What's
bit
next?
better.
What's next?
Cowboys at Rams. You know,
I'm gonna go Rams, man.
I have a bunch of Cowboys.
I don't think Goff is playing great,
but gosh, that's the problem though. Like Rams just look.
It all depends if
dysfunctional
Todd
sometimes.
Gurley is healthy.
Yes,
he is.
does.
Is he back to full health?
I read today he was like in full practice today, and he's been sitting out the last 3 weeks. So here's the deal: when I saw the Rams play in the playoffs last year, they looked like a team that was new to the playoffs. Deer caught in headlights.
Yes,
right?
that is very true.
So this year they go out, they make some moves on the defense, right?
Yep.
They shore up a couple of things on the defense. I believe in Wade Phillips, man, their D coordinator. I really like Wade Phillips. And I think like the play calling, they're not going to put it on Goff's shoulder. It's Sean McVay. They're not going to do it. McVay's not going to let that happen. Goff has not played great the last month.
No.
So they're going to have to go, and they're also playing one of the best defenses.
Yeah, I was going to say Dallas defense is nasty.
Yeah, they're playing a heck of a defense. However, I just don't. Oh, and you know what I did not think about is considering that home field advantage is not really true.
Right? Yeah, that is.
It's not true home field advantage out there for that team. You know, but all that to say, I think they're going to learn from last year. I think the Rams will win the game.
Don't make me cry again, okay?
Sorry.
I've already cried
I think the
enough this
Rams will
weekend.
win the game. I think Dallas will make it a good game. But at the end of the day,
man.
I think it's going to be a little too hard for them to overcome
What do y'all think?
their lack of offense.
I got my money on the Rams.
I think they're going to stop Zeke, bro.
Even if I think Dallas is going to win, I'm still not
They're
going to
stop
Dallas.
Zeke.
Do you remember the Thursday night football game where Kansas City and the Rams played and they both scored?
Fantastic game.
It was amazing.
Yeah, I thought defense as a whole just took us 15 steps back in that game.
I don't think the Rams defense is that good, even with Wade Phillips.
They aren't that good, but
Is that where you're picking the Cowboys?
no.
As bad as I hate to say it,
No.
I'm
I
picking
am
the
too.
Cowboys.
I'm
I'm
sorry,
picking
man.
the Cowboys.
I'm sorry. I think Aqib Talib, and I think their other. What's the other
Marcus
corner?
Peters?
I think they're both going to
They're
play good
nasty.
enough. I think they're going to play good enough. I don't think they're going to be good enough to beat the Saints, by the way. But they're going to play good enough.
Didn't the Rams play like trash to the Bears though? A similarly dominant defense.
Oh, they got destroyed.
I just think it's possible Cowboys can win, dude.
Oh, it's absolutely. It's the playoffs,
Like
bro.
very possible,
But
not like
last
moderately
year,
possible.
But the Rams last year were like a deer caught in headlights last year. I think this team will come out with some swag. I think they're going to run the ball. They're going to control the clock.
I'm hoping it's going to happen. I don't think it's
But
gonna.
Like, do y'all hate the Cowboys
Oh,
as
we
much
hate
as
the-
I
yes.
hate the Panthers?
Yeah.
I hate
as
the
much as
Cowboys.
I hate the Steelers,
Like,
wow.
if Tony Romo's corpse was right here, would you teabag it?
No.
I was gonna say, how do you like listening to Tony Romo commentate?
No. I'm no.
Like,
I
who's
would-
Troy Aikman's? I don't know. Who do y'all hate the most?
Jerry Jones.
Jerry
Jerry Jones. But
Jerry Jones sort of is a walking corpse anyway.
I had a love-hate relationship with Tony Romo because I knew he was good,
He's
but
a
I knew
great
when it
analyst.
came to the big games, he was going to choke. He was
did.
going to screw up somewhere, throw an interception,
You're right.
fumble, and so I knew they were never
He's
going to
actually
win
a
the
great
Super
game
Bowl.
analyst, though.
He is.
He's
I
turned out
love
to be.
listening to him.
But he's not
commentate.
biased either.
No, he's not.
You know,
at all.
Yeah, he's very good.
I just like listening to him like commentate Cowboys games.
See,
and
I
call
have
the
I
plays.
am totally disillusioned with my hatred for Tom Brady. Like, Tom Brady is probably an awesome human, but I'm not giving him the benefit of the doubt. No.
It's like I like watching Tony commentate, but like it's like John Madden. You know, no matter how good the Redskins were playing, he hated the Redskins.
Oh my
Like,
That
God,
is
Chris!
true.
They could be
Collinsworth-
beating
Chris
Dallas.
Collinsworth has his favorites. I feel the same way with him.
like
Yeah,
Redskins-
I got you. Okay, that's cool. All right, so Gage is picking the
We
Cowboys.
Got, we got two more though.
Okay, what do we got?
Chargers at Patriots.
I mean, we're stupid to bet against the Patriots, guys.
I know.
They don't lose at home.
Tom Brady.
I will choose the Patriots. in
I'm
this
not.
one.
I'm not choosing the Patriots. Not over my dead body.
Oh my goodness.
I'm riding with the redneck cowboy.
Me too. I was going to do what you just said. The stupidest thing you do. I'm going to pick Phillip Rivers.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's his
Redneck
time.
Cowboy.
I do
Redneck
hope
Cowboy.
it's his time. I just
Him and his 15 kids are gonna sack Tom Brady.
0-7 against Tom Brady. I'm going Pats.
I know.
I think at this point,
Statistically, it's a joke. When
Right.
you look at, I love it in the big games. Like they'll do this weekend. They're going to show
There was
Tom
such and
Brady's.
such, yeah.
Here's Tom Brady's playoff stats.
Here's Phillip
1,500 wins, 2 million touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and then here's everybody else.
I just feel sorry for Phillip Rivers because his draft class also had like Roethlisberger and Eli Manning. They both have Super Bowl rings. Like honestly, I want him to get one before he retires.
That organization, that's a good example of an organization of an owner that just didn't put the right pieces around him.
Phillip Rivers
Drew Brees better thank God he got out of there.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. Phillip Rivers if he had a shade of the team that Eli Manning or Ben Roethlisberger had, he would have won a Super Bowl by now.
He's really only had, I think, really 2 what I would consider bad seasons. I think he's had 2 seasons where he's had 20-plus interceptions. Yeah. And he still had more touchdowns than interceptions those years. But other than that,
he's been very consistent.
For the most part, yeah. And I don't really like him. Again, he's just mouthy. He's like Jay Cutler, but a redneck. But anyway.
I want the Chargers to win. I just think that New England on their home turf is just not going to.
I agree.
Did you see the press conference right after the game where they were asking about how his offense struggled? He was like, "Who won?
Yeah,
who won?
Yeah.
The redneck cowboy came like, "Who won?"
Yeah, that's the way he is, man. But the press likes him. But the press likes him. But the Chargers, the general NFL media, does not really like the Chargers.
No, not
in general. Really. You guys know.
I'm pretty sure all of our teams are blacklisted from the
NFL. Like the NFL has their favorites. So we don't hear about the Chargers. We've heard, oh my God, we've heard nothing but amazing things about the Rams since McVay's been over there. It's like they haven't been able to do anything wrong.
McVay was Gruden's replacement.
You're right. Oh my God.
And it kills me.
You know what's funny? Okay, the dude that got hired, Kingsbury? Yeah. Didn't he come from that coaching tree?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And here's the thing, like the reason Kirk Cousins had those back-to-back 4,000-yard seasons was Sean McVay. He was the one calling the plays from the sideline.
Yeah.
And it also goes back when
Shanahan.
Back when Jay Gruden first got there, he hired Joe Barry to be the defensive coordinator. He was horrible, and they passed on Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips interviewed,
legend,
interviewed, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go with Joe Barry. He was the defensive coordinator for the 0-16 Lions. He's great." And we're sitting here, we're like, "What?"
I love coaches, man. Coaches are dumbasses sometimes.
And now McVay. I mean, even last year was his first year at the Rams.
He crushed it. With Goff. He made Goff look like you guys remember when the light turned on for Alex Smith with the 49ers? Yeah. It was towards the end there when Kaepernick really turned it on. And it's almost like it took Kaepernick challenging Alex Smith for Alex Smith to really become...
Wasn't it part on Harbaugh too though? Because he just got there
Harbaugh.
Recently.
Harbaugh changed the whole team overnight. He was nuts. He was a crazy coach. But so going back to Goff and McVay, I think there's certain coaches they just know how to get their quarterbacks playing right. They cover up their crap.
And Jeff Fisher, the coach,
awful.
8-8 every year.
Horrible. But guess what? Him. That team, he built that team.
He
couldn't coach, but
he deserves
credit. He drafted Aaron Donald.
He drafted the guts of that team. The problem was, and it always has been, is that he runs these schemes from 1976. He's like, we're gonna run the ball. We're gonna run.
I don't know. Once he lost Steve McNair and Eddie George, he lost his legacy.
Well, McNair
here goes 8-8 every year now.
McNair was arguably the most dynamic quarterback he ever had, and then he did have a good couple of years with Kerry Collins. And then Kerry Collins had a heck of an arm too. Went to the Giants, did the same thing.
For that Super Bowl. Ew.
Yeah, but still, he got him there. And Kerry Collins had some very successful seasons in that. When he had really good seasons, they were really, really good seasons.
Yeah, he had high highs and very low
lows. Obviously. Yeah.
No mid-ground.
So, anyway, all right, what else?
Last
we got?
game, and this is actually a more competitive game than people would think by looking at the record. All right. Eagles at Saints.
Oh, that's gonna be a great game. Okay,
Foles magic.
So here's the drama behind this game. This is what the press has been saying. We sort of like to crap on the press.
They ran up the score on the
they were like, oh, these guys ran the scores. It's gonna be revenge. They're gonna run up the score again. That's my prediction.
If they could run it up worse, they would.
Because of that. In the dome, Drew Brees can walk in and they're going to already be 30 points ahead in the game. Oh, well, yeah, it's 3 minutes in the game. They're up 30 points. It's over.
Honestly, I think this game will be a shootout. I think Foles will throw like 4 touchdowns.
No. I think the difference with this Saints team, Gage, is they actually play defense.
Somewhat.
This is a better defensive team than when crazy old Greg Williams was the defensive coordinator there,
they're not
and they
really
won the
highly
Super Bowl
ranked this year, though, are they? They're like mid-grade, which is like number 1 for Saints.
Well, they were actually for a long time they were number 1 because remember there was a stretch where they were like scoring like an unbelievable amount of points, so things were really skewed.
Yeah,
and then the last half of the season, I think Sean, what's his name?
Peyton,
the coach there has they sandbagged a little bit the last couple of weeks of the season. Once I feel like once they got things locked in before Carolina game,
so nice to get back and relax.
They I think they sandbagged a little bit. I think they're going to come out and whoop them, but that's my opinion.
It's gonna be a close game.
Did you hear all those people when...
I'm betting against Nick Foles, by the way.
Oh, yeah, me. I'm betting against Nick Foles.
What's wrong with y'all?
Foles magic is ending this Sunday night.
It's over. Nick, you're going to the Dolphins. Okay, go ahead.
I love how all the Panthers fans around here, it was like when they were playing...
their 4th stringer or whatever?
Yeah, like when they were playing their 4th stringer, they're like, we need to get rid of Cam.
Listen,
I'm like, this is a preseason game.
I made a post.
Exactly like that.
I made a post that basically said that. I'm hey, take this game with a grain of salt. It's meaningless. It's like a preseason game, right? And then these people were like, well, they should play to win every game. I'm proud of them. I'm like, y'all are filthy casuals. If you think,
weather fans.
Like, are you serious? Like, do you honestly think this quarterback that won you that game has any future in the NFL? No, he was their 4th string.
That's like saying Josh Johnson should be starting somewhere next year.
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Somebody said that.
I
saw that. They're like, well, Josh Johnson can bring back his career. No.
When did he have a career to begin with, though?
He never did. He never did.
He did good coming off the couch.
Listen, he's going to get the NFL sued by Kaepernick. That's what he's done.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
That's what he's done. Okay. You want to talk about some news and stuff?
Yeah,
so
let's
I do
do
want
it.
to bring up one controversial thing. We'll talk. I want to talk about the ratings. Okay, it was almost as if going into this season, right? Everything we saw was president publicly bashing the NFL. Of course, Fox News jumps on it like white on rice, and they start pushing. You start seeing all this stuff. You see the machine of social media start going, oh, the NFL, the media, Trump was bagging on them, Trump's bagging on them, blah, 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 blah. Well, you know what? Now we're supposedly in a crisis, made up crisis in my opinion. And, there's a lot of other political issues going on in the country. It's like, it's a ghost town now when it comes to negativity about the press of the NFL league in general, right? Nothing's being negative said now. Nothing. It turns out the viewership has gone to back where it was a couple of years ago. I think it correlates directly to how good the quarterback play has been this season. I think you got these young kids, you got Mahomes, you got Goff, you got these teams like Chicago, worst to first kind of a situation. I feel like when the Cowboys do well, I think the ratings always do well, like that kind of stuff. And the drama in the league has brought back the numbers, is what I think. Now they did say the people going to the actual games is a little it went up a little bit,
right? Yeah,
but the viewership for the most part, even this weekend, which were not incredible games. Let's just be honest, they weren't. What we're going to see this weekend is going to be much better quality games, in my opinion.
Yeah.
As far as quarterback play, we're going to see some incredible quarterback play this weekend. But the ratings have come back.
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead.
Even before the national anthem whole
debacle,
the Neil. 2 years ago, I went to go see the Redskins play in D.C. against the Eagles. Carson Wentz's rookie season.
Oh. Yeah.
On my son's first birthday, by the way. Just throw that out there.
No bitterness.
Why is Uncle Casey not in any of my birthday pictures? He was at the Eagles game.
But anyway, long story short, okay. We went up there, we watched the game, Redskins won.
That's so funny.
It was great, but the tickets were very expensive. The parking, God, was like almost a whole nother ticket.
Hundreds of dollars, yeah.
And then hotel stay and the travel back and forth. Like
what was it? $1,200?
2 tickets. They were $225 a piece.
Mother grabber.
And then we were on the 50-yard line, 13 rows up from the bottom.
That's awesome though.
Yeah, wow. Parking was $100.
But you can't do that every year. I mean, I know my
Parking
family
was on.
Like, not that I do an amazing job with our finances, but in my heart, I can't spend that every year.
Oh, yeah, no. This is like a once in a lifetime.
Yeah, exactly.
And
there's people that travel the country follow the team.
I have the only reason I got to go is because I had a friend who was like, "Hey man, would you go with me to see a game in DC?" And I was like,
yeah.
I was like, yeah. He's
I
like,
will
all right.
miss my nephew's first birthday.
Exactly. And he paid for everything. He's like, hey, I got this trip for you.
Dude, that's dope.
And I got
you got to go.
So I got to go. But if I lived in DC,
you'd never go.
I wouldn't go to that.
Well, same thing. I have a very good friend, Chip, in Charlotte, that's a huge Panthers fan. And he can't go to every game. He knows I'm a huge Dolphins fan. He knows my son's a huge Atlanta fan. And he's got multiple seats too. So if he's able to get his money back or some of his money on those 2 tickets, he'll hook us up, or I'll definitely try to help him if he needs the money. But that's about the only time I go. Because the experience, I have a beautiful 4K TV in my house. Like, it is a big old 4K TV. The experience at my house while I was sick this weekend was awesome. I had my Diet Mountain Dew. I had my Coke Zero. I had, it's good. Like, the viewing experience we get to watch at home is actually quite incredible.
Right.
That mixed with NFL Reddit, I watch everything for free. I ain't paying for it. So, for the fun stuff, the extra stuff. So, sorry, I'm not saying, hey, go out there and steal your content. But what I'm saying is, I watch a lot of that stuff.
It's like by the time you pay for a ticket, travel, and parking, you could pay for the NFL Sunday ticket for the whole year.
That is very true.
And you know what? And I got mad when I got mad at the Dolphins after the 18 millionth reset. I stopped paying for that. And I just started using NFL Reddit to watch the Game Zone, the Red Zone, whatever channel. And it just got very frustrating as a fan. Like, here I am investing. In my weekends, I'm playing every weekend. There's sometimes I don't get home till like 4 or 5 on Sundays. But I listen to it in my car. I have NFL Sirius radio in my car. I love listening to it in my car. I'm a huge fan of the game. But the cost going to the game is just horrible. Right. It's just not good. And it's like the Dolphins, the minute the Dolphins had some success with Tannehill,
ticket price.
Yeah. Like, they say it's like a party. They say the Cowboys Stadium is designed almost to make you feel like people are just there and they're not paying attention to the game. Like, they said it's like a party atmosphere. Like, people are just hanging out, but it feels like they're not really paying attention to the game. And that's the way the Dolphins Stadium, they did all this huge renovation. They have all these parties while there's a flippin' swimming pool in the Jaguars Stadium.
That's sick.
And every once in a while, if you pay attention when they do a close up, there's always something inappropriate happening. In that swimming pool in the Jaguars Stadium, but it's almost like they're so, like, NFL teams are so hell bent on making this viewer experience so different. The best thing about going to the game, to be honest, are the huge screens and being able to watch your favorite players.
The Redskins want to build a new stadium in DC.
You know how much that's going to cost there?
Millions. But if the product on the field doesn't change, nobody's still going to go to the new stadium.
And they are a storied franchise, just like the Finns. Like, there's huge. The Ravens now, they have such a big story about their history. And I grew up, watching, those Redskins teams. I grew up watching Don Shula and Dan Marino dominate. I grew up watching that stuff. But, like, the people past my generation, they've had Jay Fiedler, Ryan Tannehill. The only player that I've really, really loved over the last Like, I can make a top 5 list of my favorite players, but by far my favorite
Pennington?
player...
Chad Pennington, yeah.
No.
What?
Ricky Williams.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
That's
Ricky
fair.
Williams was awesome
Totally
for
forgot
our
about
team.
that.
He was awesome. And I tell you, he was so awesome. He would keep getting suspended for marijuana, and Bill Parcells kept him every time. That's how good Ricky Williams was. When Bill Parcells keeps you after multiple marijuana suspensions, he's like, Ricky, I know this is bad. You just staying on my team. Of course, because he was so good.
Was it Jason Taylor?
Great player.
Oh, yeah.
Great player. He went and done one season with the Redskins
Yeah,
and then
they
went back. Came right
Came right
back.
back. But and that says a lot for the organization, I guess, when you have players do that. But it's tough. I think I'm going to say a broad statement, but I think it's 100% true. I think, Ricky Rod's the owner of the Skins or the Dolphins or whatever. I don't care what organization. I would tell my staff, you get a quarterback every year until you find me our Ben Roethlisberger, or you get me my Tom Brady. Period. I don't care. Like, I literally don't care. If they tell me, well, we can get a stopgap guy and we'll just draft another guy next year, I'd be like, no, I want a new guy on the team, and I want to see him in camp competing. Until you find me that guy. Find me Russell Wilson.
He was third round, wasn't he?
Third round, yeah.
He was a third round. He was making chump change when he was winning. When he won the Super Bowl, I think he only made $250,000 that year. Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about that. Guaranteed, because they're tiered contracts.
Yep.
So it's what you get is what you get.
Right.
So I know there's teams that have great quarterbacks that have bad years. Packers, stuff, but the bottom line is they still have a chance.
Yeah.
If they would just gave that ball to Marshawn Lynch, he'd have 2 Super
I
Bowls.
know.
Yeah,
Oh my
exactly.
gosh.
I know.
Exactly.
Seattle.
Yeah.
But listen, coaches. Those guys are much smarter than us when it comes
Speaking
to
of
the league,
coaches.
and we get to backseat game.
Coaches, let's talk about those real quick.
Yeah, there's been some major news today.
First off, Bruce Arians
That's
and
a great pick.
Todd Bowles
Dude.
both went to the Bucks.
Oh, so they
Oh,
did
they
get Todd
officially got
Bowles.
a Bucks?
Yeah.
Yes, both of them.
So here's the deal.
Please kick out Jameis
Bruce
Winston,
Arians
please.
is going to take his right foot and cram it so far up Jameis's butt. Like, Jameis is going to go up there and do his knucklehead stuff, and Bruce Arians is
Week
going
2, Jameis is out.
Dude, Bruce
Call it
Arians
right now.
will not tolerate.
Week 2.
He won't tolerate it. I tell you, if Jameis is in the second quarter and misses like a read, you will see Bruce
Mike Lennon,
Arians'
come
head.
back out here.
You will see Bruce Arians' head blow up. Like okay. Let's talk about Bruce Arians. I love him. He's nuts.
He's fantastic.
He's nuts. He's a nuts coach. He was the guy who developed Peyton Manning, right? Turns what's his name, Carson, into a decent quarterback over there. He had an incredible year from Cincinnati.
Okay.
He's just a good coach. He had Ben Roethlisberger. He's going to do great for the Bucks. I hope he does. I mean, Todd Bowles is a great defensive coordinator.
And they have a good defense already over there, honestly.
They do. They do
have good pieces.
And I think he went over there because of the wide receivers. You got Deshaun Jackson, who said he wasn't happy.
He asked to be traded
Yep.
halfway through, but then
he won't because Bruce is going to go over there. If I know Bruce Arians, the minute he got the job, he probably called his big guys, like all of them, the influencers on that team. He said, "You boys better be ready." Like I just know him. I just know, like he's just that kind of guy. Like his team loves him, So and I wonder if they gave him like some maybe final roster say, because he was wanting the Cleveland job. He literally, I think he said it on the air. He would coach Baker Mayfield.
Has they announced the new head coach for the Browns?
No. I think I read this morning. It was Kitchens is the guy leading.
That's good.
That's the offensive coordinator, I think, because they interviewed a bunch of people. Freddie Kitchens, I think is his name. I think he is in the lead for that job, which I think is probably
crazy. Greg Williams done a good job finishing up the season.
Williams, boy. And you know what? I wonder if he stays. I bet you he may stay because they say he's he's super different kind of guy now. There's really no reason for him to go anywhere. He might as well just stay there.
No. He is a good defensive coordinator.
I think he's an excellent coordinator.
So can I ask you a question?
He's got screw loose.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you slightly feel sorry for Hugh Jackson because he kind of helped build that team? And
him going to the
he didn't do anything on that team.
Yeah, well,
I think he did. But
he did a little bit, but him going to the Bengals,
Cincinnati,
and then watching Baker Mayfield stare him down like twice was the most
I don't feel
fulfilling
bad.
thing.
I don't feel bad for Hugh because Hugh he brings some of that stuff on himself. I think the way he handles his interviews, I think they purposely held back Baker. I think in a weird way early on. I think they knew what they had in preseason. And they went out there with Tyrod. Nothing against Tyrod.
Tyrod's a good
quarterback. But the minute they made that change, it was like that offense changed overnight.
Right.
Like it instantly changed. Like this dude was the quarterback's coach.
Oh, I know.
And then they're like, okay, you're calling the plays. Oh, now you're gonna be the coach. That's how fast it changes.
Yep.
But yeah, I like Greg Williams.
Other coaches, Kingsbury went to the Cardinals.
That is crazy. Where was he at? Texas Tech?
Texas Tech. He actually coached Pat Mahomes.
He coached Baker Mayfield.
Who?
Yeah, I think he did.
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
I thought he went to Oklahoma.
No, he coached. Hold on. I'm going to look it up right now. He is responsible. I'll tell you the quarterbacks he's associated with. Hold on. What's his full name?
It's like Cliff Kingsbury, I think.
Kingsbury.
That's a name.
Kingsbury. He is. Hold on.
4-year deal. Bruce Arians also got the same deal. So.
Yeah, I don't know what Arizona is thinking. So here we go. Hold on. So he's from the Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Matt Nagy, Matt LaFleur, that whole system, right? So
he's coached Mahomes, Case Keenum,
and Baker Mayfield.
No, it doesn't.
Yep.
Johnny Manziel.
39-year-old former NFL quarterback, also developed a reputation for working with top QBs, including Case Keenum, Baker Mayfield.
Oh, okay.
Patrick Mahomes. Blah blah blah
Davis
blah blah.
Webb.
Okay, I don't think he ever had a winning season. At Texas Tech, I don't think that ever happened. So, this is okay. This could turn into an excellent hire for Arizona. We don't know. Maybe the dude's just a natural leader. He's going to come in,
lead Josh Rosen to being successful.
Well,
and not
okay,
look like a mess.
So
I don't know.
No, that's not happening.
You draft a. I never watched him in college, but this is going to be a situation much like Tannehill, where they kept on making OC changes at the Dolphins because they couldn't ever get him past the proverbial hump, right? Gase got him past the hump, and then he got hurt. But they never got him past that hump, and we're going to see the same thing happen. This dude's got 2 years.
Yeah,
that coach does, and if Rosen doesn't show any improvement next season, I think this is it for Rosen, and then they're going to reboot again.
They're impatient, so
yeah. I don't like that hire at all.
All right, just real quick because these aren't really that significant. The Broncos are down to 2 coaches. The
Mike Munchak. That's weird.
And
he's the O-line coach at the Steelers.
Yeah,
right?
and the D coordinator for the Bears, Vic Fangio.
Yeah, old guy.
And
he's an old guy.
Good. The Falcons rehired Dirk Cotter, I think is his name.
Yeah. Dude, listen, the Falcons fired all of their coordinators, all of them, and rehired ex-coaches, ex-head coaches. Yep. That's all they did.
And the last thing, the Packers hired Matt LaFleur, the Titans OC.
Yeah, that's a weird...
Everyone was very confused on that one.
Well, Mike McCarthy, I thought was a weird hire. He came from a team that was not doing that great. He was on the 49ers, I think, when he came to the Packers. And then, they had some success. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe the Packers know something we don't know. I have a feeling they brought him in because they wanted to keep Mike Pettit, the defensive coordinator. I don't think LaFleur wanted to blow up the team. I bet you what's his name from from New England, McDaniels was like, nope, if you give me the job, it's going to be my crew, and probably LaFleur was like, no, we'll keep the staff there, But they say he's like a hard-nosed coach. The rumor is that like basically McCarthy would call a timeout to set up the quote-unquote perfect play, and then Rodgers would change the play at the line. Like they said that happened a lot the last couple of years.
Much.
Yeah, so the relationship there was not very good between Rodgers and,
as you can imagine,
and McCarthy, and so they're saying this coach is going to be like he's only 2 years older than Rodgers, I think.
Yeah, he was
so they're saying it's going to really challenge him. So it's interesting. I've watched Rodgers since he was a rookie. Now we're watching him technically at the end of his career, and they're bringing in a coach to like purposely push his buttons. I find that quite interesting. Like he's going to take no BS from him.
I find it funny that the Cardinals hired a coach that is younger than Tom Brady.
Yeah,
I think possibly P. Rivers, Drew Brees. And also Big Ben. He's like 36.
McVay was the 34?
Yeah, he's young.
He's super young, too.
You know what they said about McVay, though? Like, he's like the hot name for coaches to be coaching with now because that's LaFleur came from that tree, all that stuff. All the Shanahan tree, by the way. But they said McVay is like, he's a lifer. Like, he lives and breathes the stuff. They say he's a good leader.
Yeah.
He's really good to the players, and he's just not only is he a good mind as far as the way he calls a game, but he's just a good coach. Like as far as a leader, I think there's where Harbaugh, the Ravens coach, he came from the special teams, which was very rare. You don't see a lot of special teams coaches get head coaching job, but they knew he was a good leader. And in my opinion, obviously more successful than his brother in that aspect, because I think he's more balanced. Like his emotions are a little bit more balanced, and he's more thoughtful. At least he hides it. Maybe he hides it better emotionally. Yeah, but so as a like if I'm hiring a coach, I'm going to be looking for that skill more than I would be looking at scheme. You know what I'm saying? I mean, scheme would be important. I want to know how they want to build the team. They better be getting me that quarterback. Like if I don't hear the word, we're going to go get us that franchise quarterback, then I'm like, I will give that dude patience. I will be patient with my staff. As long as they commit to me, they're going to try to go get the next Flacco or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if that's really that much of an honor anymore.
Well,
he's got trash recently.
He changed that team, though.
I know.
He changed that team.
A lot of trash been thrown his way.
People forget about that, though. But, whatever. The Goff, like the way Goff turned into such a quarterback.
Right.
Like, I would be patient with my staff. Mm-hmm. If I saw that happening, I would be okay with a couple of weird seasons until they got me that guy. But if I was the owner of the team or the GM and I saw what Mitch Trubisky put on the TV last week, I would be telling him, no.
I bet Rex Grossman was watching like, aha, I'm not
like,
the worst one it is here.
He's not good enough. And you're thinking, Rick, you're being very hardcore. That team won X amount of games.
12 games.
That's great. Guess what? One and done.
Yeah.
We got beat by a 9-7 team. Ooh. Like, give me Nick Foles on that Chicago team. Right? Like, you give me Russell Wilson on that team. That's what I would be telling my staff. And then, of course, they're probably trying to talk me off the ledge. I'm being like, no, releases.
Literally any other quarterback in the playoffs right now would have led the Bears to like 15-1.
Yeah, it's true.
Just, all of their losses came from having a bad quarterback.
And that's a draft system, though. That's when having a free agent system, a draft system. You need all the stars to line. That's why, like Bill Belichick is so lucky.
Right.
Like he's literally lucky. They got lucky with Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. Period. Like,
wasn't he a 6th round pick?
Yes. Yeah. And he was brought on basically as a favor. I mean, if you look at the Patriots draft picks, they're not good. Historically, they're not good.
Not really. No.
Not good drafters. There was a huge drama last year when what's his name was there, Garoppolo. It created a huge issue there. Because I think Brady knew
mistakes were made.
Brady knew that Belichick wanted to get rid of him. Brady, I think Belichick absolutely wanted to keep Garoppolo and did not want to keep Brady. I think the owner stepped in, calmed it down. Hey, let's not blow this up, kind of thing. But if Belichick stuck true to what he's always said, he's like Mr. about the system. He's Mr. about blah blah blah. I think Tom Brady would have been traded after last year.
Oh, absolutely,
if he was allowed to.
And Jimmy Garoppolo, after being traded to the 49ers, he
did good.
And they got a second round pick for him. They only gave a second round pick for him, and he finished that last season.
They did great.
He went perfect.
6 games in a row.
Did he get hurt in the second game this season?
This season, yeah. We talked about him extensively the first game of the season.
Yeah.
And then we came in the second. We were like, well, what did you call him? Like
I can't remember.
Something about porn star or something like that.
Yeah, he was.
Because he dates like a bunch of like
supermodels.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan's leash in San Francisco has to be short now.
Well, it will be. Okay, that's a good thing. Garoppolo's back next year, right?
Yeah.
Listen, he made it work with Dwayne Mullins or whatever his name is.
Nick Mullins.
Nick Mullins. Dwayne Mullins. Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins. That's just too funny. That dude was a 4-string quarterback.
Not even verified on Twitter before the game.
Yeah.
Middle of the game, got verified.
So you're right, though. Next year, if Garoppolo, if they don't really show something, I think there will be issues. I think he will be on a short lease. Dude, he's proven to be a heck of a play caller. I'll take him. He is. I'd take him
except for in the Super Bowl.
True that. True that. When it counts.
That's so true.
God. All right, what else do we got?
Well,
anything else?
Real quick, because we have talked for a long time.
Yeah, that's okay.
Let's each of us for this upcoming season give me one word to describe your hopes for this upcoming season.
Oh my God, are you kidding? This is the worst year for me to think about that because we're gonna tank for Tua. That's my word, tank.
There you go. What's y'all's word, each of you?
Fail. It's just getting hard. We have no hope. There is no Alex Smith. He'll be lucky to play football again.
That's
true.
Very true.
And they don't have a
So
lot of
have
cap
they
space.
publicly said anything about what they want to do yet?
He just got released to go.
I know,
He's been a month in a hospital.
I know. It was bad.
There's not really much they can do if he doesn't come back. We don't have that
Josh
much money.
Johnson.
No. I mean, obviously they're in the game for a Flacco, or they're going to go out and get somebody. I don't think Flacco fits that system, but that's just me.
No.
They're gonna have to release Josh Norman, Zach Brown to make some salary. cap
What do you
room.
think? What do you think? Do you draft next year?
They're gonna draft a quarterback.
I don't think I don't think we're gonna have amazing quarterbacks this year.
We're not having,
You got
But
three.
I'm thinking
2020 though.
I'm thinking third round they'll draft the quarterback.
Hey,
okay.
dude from State, third rounder. That's for sure.
They'll draft
Someone
somebody in the
like
third
that.
round.
Okay.
They gave their 4th round pick for
So what about
Diggs. If Gruden doesn't win next year, he's out.
That's it.
If he doesn't make playoffs, he's out.
What did you think about DJ Swearinger? That whole debacle.
He wasn't wrong,
Exactly.
but
What you said, you don't disagree with.
it's like Greg Minuski's play calling
Is
is
trash.
hard. Is
The defensive
trash.
coordinator.
was horrible.
It's like you let what's the quarterback for Tennessee?
Was it
Mariota.
Mariota?
Blaine Gabbert.
It was Gabbert,
You didn't
actually.
you didn't blitz Blaine Gabbert on every. He's horrible.
I know.
And at the end of that game, they just rushed their
Yeah.
I just loved watching Taylor Lewan go up to Josh Norman and do the
Dude, Lewan is nuts.
that thing to him, and then he's like, I don't even know who that is.
Josh Norman. He got up off that bench, and I was like,
Oh yeah,
There's gonna be a
what are you
fight.
gonna do against a 6'8"?
Well, okay, so
you don't realize how small Josh Norman is until you
but you know what's funny is the Dolphins are in the same boat. I have no clue who we're gonna get. I have no clue who our coach is gonna be yet, and I honestly don't think we're gonna win more than 3 games. I'm serious. Gage. Our owner goes, "Hey, we're gonna build this the right way for the long haul, no matter what next season is."
That's
he
fair,
said
though.
that.
If you're fully committed, I don't have a problem
Gage,
with that.
I'm sorry, dude. I honestly think in the NFL, with free agency, you can put a coaching staff together that's smart enough to at least win half of the games.
Right. But
I honestly believe that.
here's the argument, though. Would you not want to at least get, if you're not going to make the playoffs and you're going to be a 7-9?
I'd rather tank.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
but-
why not tank?
But you can't do that. You can't ever publicly say that because of your season ticket
fined.
holders.
And truly, if you're on the field, you don't want to tank either because you're out there playing.
Well, like we were making fun of the Panthers game, right? Like you really only have a couple of choices when your team's in the crapper and you're finishing the season.
When your 3 quarterbacks are all injured.
You're playing for pride, number one. Like, just personally, I would never tank something.
No.
Like, I just don't have the heart to do that. But number two, most of those players are not going to be on that roster next year. People don't realize the amount of turnover on an NFL roster. They're playing for their next team.
Yeah.
Or they're just playing for the paycheck and they don't give a rip.
Well,
that's really the only 3 reasons.
You can't bash your employer and not get away with it.
Yeah, true. True.
Yeah.
And
he's done it before.
Swearinger's...
Yeah, that wasn't his
Every
only...
year.
Okay,
He's
so wait. If Swearinger... Okay, if he's on the Steelers, do the Steelers take it?
He's on the Cards.
Yeah, I know, but
Cards.
if he's on the Steelers, though, hypothetically, Mike Tomlin's a coach. I think he stays on that roster.
I think he does.
Because I think Mike Tomlin's like a player's coach.
My gosh,
and now he's got a
man.
huge problem with Antonio Bryant, who is a nutbag. He has proven to me he's a nutcase.
Yeah, and he's due like $21 million next year.
Yeah, he ain't going nowhere.
Steelers are going
contractually.
5-11 next year.
No,
Stamp that.
Not with Big Ben. No.
Who do they have to throw to besides Juju Smith-Schuster?
Dude,
Antonio Brown's not coming back.
That organization craps wide receivers. Like, every wide receiver they get.
But they still missed the playoffs.
They did this year. For the second time, Mike Tomlin's career. Which, I'm wondering if a team has reached out to the Steelers and said, hey, let's work out a deal for Mike.
They've missed 2 out of the last 3 years, though. Like, recently, and they barely...
2 times, yeah.
Yeah, out of the last 3 years, and the year before last,
Well,
they snuck in because we were so terrible.
You could argue it's been their defense. Their defense, usually they've always been known as a defensive team, and that team has changed a lot since what's his name left, the old guy. Gosh, I can't remember his.
Wait, are you talking about like a
old defensive coordinator?
Oh, never mind.
He's a legend. He's the guy that like basically developed the zone blitz. But like when he left, that the defensive structure of the Steelers changed. But
yeah.
I don't know, man. It's tough. Like when you're a fan of a team that's always average. Like I do want my team to take a chance, right? I'm willing to see the team fail as long as I know they're taking a chance and building for the future. Like I know the Dolphins have key young players. We have a left tackle that's great. We have a corner that's great. We got a young linebacker that started playing really good at the end of the season. We got pieces, right? But then we got some old dudes, right? We got Tannehill, who's proven he's not gonna be. He's Blake Bortles, is what we've got.
That's very fair.
He's not that bad.
He's bad. He's close.
He's bad. He's
close.
Bad.
Dude, whatever the quarterback rating ESPN has, Tannehill was the worst. Because it's based on that rating's based on
overall
like decision making.
Yeah,
like the quality of the play and the quality of the decision he makes. And he was the worst. He really was the worst. So, and they still won less than half of their games with all those injuries. That's why I keep on saying, okay, you could literally get a Flacco, put a system together, right? I mean, do you think the Colts do you think they honestly thought they would be in the playoffs this year? Anybody? I didn't.
Not at 1-5.
No. But nobody at the beginning of the season gave them any hope.
Just because there was so much doubt on everything.
Exactly. Andrew Luck comes back. He's looking fit and fresh.
He looks like
he's healthy. And you know what? They didn't let him throw the long ball at the beginning of the season. Remember
I saw that?
Like they wouldn't, they were still protecting him.
Jacoby.
And then all of a sudden they make a run. They get hot for a month, and then here they go. They could beat the Chiefs this week. So you just never know, man. I don't know what's going to happen next year. Like, what teams could be Chicago Bears next year? Like, are we going to see the Packers come back? We don't know. That's the beauty of the NFL. But they can make a couple of free agent pickups. We can make a lot of changes. I mean, the Dolphins could end up getting a great coach. We don't know.
Right. Honestly, for me, if we had stuck with Flacco the whole year, I would say that this year coming up would be like, the word would be unpredictable.
Well, it would have just prolonged.
But now I find it promising.
You should be. You should be.
Very promising.
I mean, there's always a weird the issue gauge next year.
I'm not a.
This is my issue though. Like you've got a young quarterback.
Yes,
right?
I do.
It's still iffy because what if he comes out
and sucks
and doesn't get better as a passer?
Right.
Like Dak Prescott's just good enough.
Right.
he's not
But
Russell Wilson.
here's the thing: if Lamar is just good enough, our team is really good.
True.
Because you have a crazy run game, you have a crazy defense.
True.
If you have a quarterback that can manage to play well,
They need to add a wide receiver too. They need to add
we
an
have
Amari
had the
Cooper.
best wide receiver core since we won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And we need to have a good one then. We had an old Anquan Bolden and a Torrey Smith.
Yeah, Torrey Smith was
And
speaking.
Both those are better than Willie Snead.
Well, yeah.
Hands down.
And Crabtree was he's clutch.
He was making some good catches aside from like 2 drops early in the year that cost us games. And old John Brown, speedster.
Yeah.
That's the best receiving core we've had in a long time.
So when you see your team making those kind of tweaks, we don't know what the Redskins are going to do yet. We don't know what the Dolphins are going to do. So there's always hope. We'll see what the changes
I don't know if I have a coach or not. Might not have Harbaugh.
Maybe, but I just don't. If that move hasn't been made yet, the longer it takes, I don't think it's going to work. I think the Dolphins interviewed 4 or 5 people in a row the minute the Gase firing happened, and then all of a sudden it's been cold the last 2 days.
Yep.
The reason is the candidates they wanted to talk to, one, I think somebody got hired, LaFleur got hired, and somebody else wouldn't talk to him. Fangio wouldn't talk to him.
The people they want to interview is still coaching for the playoffs.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't think there's going to be anything made free agency wise. We're not going to hear really hard rumors until after the Super Bowl, whatever happens. And I hope people learn 2 things: don't ever get free agents from the Patriots, and don't get any coaches from the Patriots. Just stay away from Patriots people.
There's a reason why the Patriots trade people away for 4th round picks.
If they were good, they'd still be on the team.
Well, a couple of the dudes they've let go recently have done okay.
Chandler Jones is one that
he's
has
done
done
well.
Good. And then, Jimmy G shows promise.
Yes.
Then you have Jamie Collins, who they trade away for a 2nd rounder, and everyone's like, "What the crap?"
Wait. Collins he's at the Browns.
The Browns.
He's actually done pretty good
until the last year or 2.
Well, that's because they got what's his name, whatever the rookie they got 2 years ago.
Kirksey.
He's become a monster.
A nasty dude. Oh my God.
Do you remember when Brady tore his ACL?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was the Dolphins won that division that year.
Absolutely, but Matt Castle came in.
Yeah,
went 10-6 and still didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah,
and then they traded him. I think it was to Minnesota.
It was. Was it?
No, Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Yeah, went to Kansas City
and
was horrible. His whole career.
Yeah, so it's just funny how whoever the hot team is, say hypothetically, right? The Chiefs win it big this year, or the Rams, in 2 years, everybody's gonna be grabbing players from those teams.
Oh yeah.
No.
Even after this season.
No,
I experienced that firsthand. After winning the Super Bowl, 10 of our starters went away.
Yeah, so there's
we sucked after that.
There's tons of turnover. There's always is. So that's what makes me respect coaches like Andy Reid that always win. Those guys always win. Belichick always wins, even with the turnovers. Even with the people, they just. It's pretty insane how they do it. It's just they do have a system. So anyway, hey guys, thank you for hanging.
Thank you for having us.
I hope you guys enjoyed your time.
Honestly.
It's chill. This is good. I don't care about the length. Length is fine. People listen to this podcast. They're on their commute in their car. They can finish it whenever they want.
Hey, it's cool.
True story. When I go to sleep at night, 90% of the time, my wife is listening to true crime podcast, and it's very weird. She listens to some very dark episodes, and I'm used to going to sleep listening to some really dark crap. I'm like, oh my god. So anyway, we do appreciate everybody. Check out ReadyManBeard.com. Talked to Jimmy today. We were in the studio working on some new music. We got a new project we're working on.
Ooh.
Check us out at bombhousepodcast.com. Welcome to the Bomb House. Facebook. I did release some instrumental music that got licensed this week for a YouTube channel. I thought that was 2 people picked up one of the tracks. I can check on who's checking the licenses for it.
Yeah.
Because I just set it where people can just accept it. So I released some instrumental music, and that was pretty fun. You can check out that. It's called Taco Tracks. It's pretty fun. I'll be releasing I got some other stuff I'll be releasing probably by the end of this month. The month of January for me is insane with my family. We have birthdays. Birthday after birthday, it's just nuts. And then my studio schedule officially kicked in this week, and it's booked. It's awesome. We got some great things happening, but as far as my life, like I know what I'll be doing for the next 18 months, So it's going to be really busy, but the podcast will continue. We still got a bunch of stuff planned. Just check up on us in social media. Maybe one day Gage will get his social media garbage together. Gage, this is to you. Is there do we need anything for y'all? Thank you for coming.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Hey, y'all from Morganton, right? Yeah. Born and raised? Mm-hmm. Burke County?
Burke County.
How many kids y'all have now?
Just one.
One each.
We figured out what caused it.
Listen, I told one of my good friends, they announced that they're going to have their first baby this year in August. I texted him. I said, listen, being a parent's great 90% of the time.
It's true.
It really is. It's awesome 90% of the time. There's just sometimes you're like, oh my God, what the crap did we do? Like
for me, it's like
I got fixed after our second one. I was like, no more.
After one.
Really? And did you have the procedure?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I thought it was fine.
That was the best $70.25.
Yeah, it was the best thing. It was the best thing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Did you do it too?
No, not yet.
Has there been any influence since he's had the procedure? He's like, bro, everything still works. Plumbing still works. It's all good.
Yeah, we've talked about it. I'm still on the fence though. But...
That's so funny.
My wife was like, hey, I want to go off birth control. And I was like, listen, babe, it's like the only way I'm going off birth control is if I get fixed. She's like, all right. And I was like, where's my phone?
You were ready to
go. Where's my phone?
That's great. Like, well, listen, you guys will have to come back. Thank you.
Sure.
Listen, Thank you for listening. I definitely want you on. This is what this podcast is about. It's about, it's really should just be about fun and talking about our teams and being frustrated with how our organizations think they could just be average year after year and not see it. Like, these guys get paid millions of dollars, and I'm talking about the people deciding who plays and the guys calling the plays. It just blows my mind.
If you were as bad at recording as Dan Snyder and
Bruce
Allen were as running the Redskins, you wouldn't have a job.
Exactly. I wouldn't have a job. And I guess when you're a millionaire,
it doesn't matter.
I guess a billionaire, it really doesn't matter. Like, I read that, what's his name? Jerry Jones bought a $250 million yacht.
That's fine.
I'm like, really, dude?
It's like pocket change.
I'm like struggling to I saved up like half of the year to buy a guitar. Like, I'm like, this is crazy.
At 80 years old, is that really necessary, by the way?
I don't know, man. I don't know. These guys, there's some crazy owners in the professional leagues. I love Mark Cuban. He's a good example of an owner that's he is way out there. They would never let him own an NFL team because he's so willing to be out there. Really, it's the NFL league. The leadership is very incestuous. Coaching is very incestuous. Atlanta just basically hired coaches that were head coaches in their division for the last 3 years. Like, it's like a buddy system there. Well, Arians got a job there at Tampa. He's going to bring Todd Bowles. They've been together before. I
just read that Byron Leftwich is going to be the quarterback coach for Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Really?
Leftwich loves Arians.
Dang,
he was the OC.
Dude.
He got promoted to be the OC at Arizona. So you got, it's very incestuous. Like, these guys, it's like a good old boys club. And I'm not saying there's a conspiracy theory, but I'm saying when the Kaepernick lawsuit is done, there will be changes. I promise you.
For sure.
There's going to be changes. They're going to be forced to make changes. It's like the Rooney Rule. Having to interview minorities. Like, part of that's a scam. The team doesn't even have to say anything other than, hey, we spoke to such and such, and that they're qualified for the Rooney Rule, and they move on. The poster boy for the Rooney Rule is Mike Tomlin, by the way. Have you noticed that when they talk about the Rooney Rule? Well, Mike Tomlin's been, blah, 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 blah. So whenever that change is ever made at the Steelers, it will be a big deal. Promise you that. But anyway, thank you guys for being on. Thank you. Appreciate y'all. So anyway, check out the websites we just posted. Next week is guaranteed to be even crazier because I'm sure there's probably breaking news at the end of this podcast. So, but anyway, we'll let y'all go. Appreciate y'all. Peace out.
Heard him say it under breath. Christian dudes with a mean swag, but we walk around like this Jericho. Laying down that adios and no smoking in my studio. Sound coming through the stereo. How you feeling shook? Vertigo. All of this confidence, dripping finesse, hitting notes and falsetto. We love tacos, so let Ricky do his thing pronto. Finish this session today, he gon' hit you with the mix tomorrow. Produce, record, mix, master it. Sounding so dope that it gets your pasta lit. Hit after hit after hit after hit, hit after hit, lickety split. What's that smell? Apple cinnamon, ready man big. Got it from Jimmy Jam. Grab the pen again, let me hear it back again. Let me hear it back again.